for joining. I hope you're having a great Saturday evening out there. Wow, we have quite the forecast going into tomorrow. And by the way, the last time we really saw significant snow in the low country, and that was 2018, January 3rd of 2018. I remember that one very dearly. We saw over 4 inches of snow just at my backyard on Johns Island. And you know, before that, I don't really remember anything except for the 2010 storm, and that was also pretty impressive as well. Hey, you know, maybe you remember both of those storms. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about that. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this forecast here. And I do want to mention that we have declared weather alert days because we are tracking some really, really cold temperatures. And that's honestly our main concern with this system. Secondarily, though, with the cold air in place, we also have the potential to see some winter weather here in the low country. So again, this will be from Tuesday until Thursday morning. The timing of the possibility of winter precipitation, whether that's snow, whether that is sleet, or whether that is freezing rain, that will be late Tuesday and overnight into Wednesday morning. So we've really started to nail down the timing of that. So that's what we're watching really closely. This is for all of the low country. So just a heads up there. That's what we're keeping a really close eye on as we get into next week. So again, if you have any questions for me, feel free to throw those in the comment sections below and I'll try to get to them. Before I get to our winter storm potential and the significant cold, let's go ahead and start with what's going on out the door right now. Generally, we're actually pretty warm. It's mild. It's kind of hard to believe that we're tracking the potential for winter weather, right? Temperatures near 50 degrees for most of us. Look at Mount Pleasant at 55 right now. So pretty mild evening out there. We saw quite a bit of rain earlier today, and it's likely we'll continue to see some scattered showers going into tomorrow morning. In fact, let me show you what that looks like. Fast forward to about 2 in the morning here. Watch that cold front, by the way. We're keeping an eye on that. But scattered showers ahead of that are expected. And then the cold front gets closer as we go into Sunday morning. Still some isolated showers here, but we're not talking widespread rain. And then it completely clears out by the midday hour. So if you do happen to have any plans Sunday afternoon, it will be chilly, it will be breezy, so maybe grab a jacket. But aside from that, it actually looks like it should be overall pretty nice. It's just breezy and cold. So again, those jackets needed. And then the cold air really settles in Sunday evening. So by Monday morning, we are talking teens and 20s for wind chill values. All right, let's go ahead and set the stage for our Arctic air and the potential for a winter storm. What I'm showing you right now is the upper air pattern as we go into Tuesday evening here. And this is a very, very favorable pattern for winter weather here in the low country. You have temperatures well into the low 20s, into the teens even for some of our inland locations setting up here. And then you notice that little bit of a curve kind of down near southeastern Texas. That is a trough of low pressure. And what that will likely do is end up creating a little surface low, and that area of low pressure will move with a jet stream from the west to the east, and that will bring us moisture at the same time. That's overrunning on top of the cold air. So that's why we're talking the potential for some winter precipitation. But before we even dive into that, I do want to really show you this cold air. Look at our normal high, 60. We're actually really warm tomorrow, and even in the morning hours we're warm. But once that cold front moves through, it is just cold. Monday, MLK Day, 41 degrees, the forecast high, and it feels colder all day long with the wind. But then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're into the mid-30s for highs. That is just frigid air. And like I mentioned, you factor in the wind, and that'll yield some wind chill values like this, teens and 20s going into Wednesday morning. But I'll tell you what, it's even colder Wednesday night and Thursday morning, especially if we do happen to have maybe some snow on the ground. That will bring our temperatures down even further. Look at these wind chill values Thursday morning. I'm talking the potential for single digits for some of our inland locations. So I just wanted to give you guys the heads up on this. This is some serious stuff. Some really cold air spilling into the low country. And that's really the main reason why we have declared these weather alert days. That'll be for Tuesday, for Wednesday, and Thursday morning. I'm going to go ahead and check the comment section right here, see if anyone's posted anything while I'm multitasking. But as we go into your Tuesday evening hours, that's when we're watching the potential for a winter storm. So let's really break this down. I mentioned we have that trough of low pressure off to our west. We have an area of low pressure developing in the Gulf. That's going to help pull some moisture up into it. It's going to move off to the east through the southeast. We have the cold air in place. It is very cold. What happens next is very dependent on where exactly this area of low pressure tracks. And what I mean by that is if it's in the perfect spot, we could be talking about all snowfall out of this system. We could see several inches of snow. It's on the table. But if it tracks a little bit closer to the coastline, we could be talking about some issues with sleet mixing in, and even more concerning, there is some potential for freezing rain as well. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the beaches, even if it were all snow inland, get some freezing rain. So when you factor that in, it's really hard to nail down the actual accumulations 4 days out here. So if anyone's in the comment section right now and you're wondering, hey, like how much snow, how much sleet, how much freezing rain are we going to see? That's why it's hard to nail that down right now. So what I really want to emphasize is that it almost doesn't really matter exactly how much snow, sleet, or ice we see. Just a light accumulation of that, it will cause some impacts here in the low country, and that's really what I want to focus on at this stage. We'll start to nail those accumulations once we get closer. About 2-3 days out, we'll start putting out snow maps. But right now, about 4 days out, we're still talking, you know, you get the sleet, you get the freezing rain, and the snow all mixing together, and that just makes for a wintry mess, but it also makes it really hard to like give you a good indication of those snow totals. So that's why I'm not doing that quite yet, but by tomorrow evening I may just very well be doing that, especially when we look at data like this. This is the Euro ensemble here, showing a really pretty high chance for our inland locations in particular to see an inch of snow at least. All right, I'm checking in on some of these comments right now. Don, thanks for adding a comment asking, is Walterboro more at risk than Charleston? As far as snowfall goes, I would not be surprised to see Walterboro receiving more snow than downtown Charleston, and the reason for that is just because it's further inland. So if you do live further inland, whether it's just Walterboro or maybe you live in Kingstree, those areas are more favored to see more winter weather than the immediate coastline. I don't know if any of you guys happen to remember 2018. I actually drove all the way out to the beach on Kiowa. I had about 4 inches at my house on Johns Island, but there was only about a ½ inch of snow actually on the beach. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens here again. And Jamie, thanks for chiming in as well, asking about Somerville. And again, Somerville would be in a very similar situation as Walterboro. It's a little bit further inland, and really the miles do matter. And that's why the track of this area of low pressure is just so critical. We're talking 25, 50 miles further to the south. It could be all snow. If it tracks right along the coast, then we're going to have some problems with freezing rain. So again, this is just going to be highly dependent on that. And at 4 days out, it's tough to nail that down. So that's why I made this graphic right here. This is what I really want to harp on. There is likely going to be travel impacts, even if it's just a light accumulation of snow, freezing rain, or sleet. It doesn't really matter because either way, the roads are more than likely going to be slick. So the time period of concern, this will be Tuesday in the very late evening, perhaps even just the night hours. The early overnight hours into Wednesday morning. That is when our storm system is pushing through, and that is when I recommend to probably stay off the roads, especially if you don't have any experience driving in snow or ice. It's just going to be slick, and you know the infrastructure here isn't quite as adept at this as places in the north. So I just want to point that out. That overnight to early morning time period Wednesday, that's when we're going to have some issues potentially on the roads. So just a heads up there. I do expect by the time we get to the afternoon on Wednesday, more than likely conditions will begin to improve. But I do have to point out that Thursday morning low for the airport in North Charleston, 19 degrees. So if we get a little bit of melting from, say, some breaks in the cloud cover Wednesday afternoon, we could easily see a refreeze on those roads. And I'll tell you what, that can be a little bit tricky. It's hard to see black ice on the roads. That could be a problem Thursday morning as well. We're watching that one really closely. But again, this is really just what I wanted to leave you with. At this stage, 4 days out, it's really all about the impacts here. And my period of concern will be Tuesday overnight into Wednesday morning. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our 5-day forecast here so you can get an idea of what we're kind of looking at. And then I'll kind of check through and see if there's any more comments. I'm not seeing too many out here. Thanks again for those who've chimed in, like Don and Jamie as well. We really appreciate it. Oh, and then Mandy, looks like you've been from Indiana. She's been here 4 years. You get icy roads. Yeah, you know, you're exactly right, Mandy. It could end up being a bit of a mess out there. And thanks for adding that comment as well. And Don, thanks for chiming in to add to that as well. But back to our 5-day forecast here. So again, it's really the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning time period I'm concerned with. Look at Tuesday morning's low. So that's Monday night. That's 23 degrees. And then the afternoon high is 37. So we're already talking frigid Arctic air. So that's why there's a weather alert for Tuesday, including the morning. But then we have that moisture moving in Tuesday night into Wednesday. And that's when we have the potential for winter weather. We have an overnight low around 22 degrees, folks, going into Wednesday morning. And get this, we warm up to 34 Wednesday afternoon, and that is just about it. Now, let me tell you, if we end up with a snowpack on the ground from this system, we might be a little bit colder than 19 degrees waking up Thursday morning. So that is likely the morning with the coldest temperature of this entire season. We're forecasting 19, which is really, really close as well to a record low. So we're keeping a close eye on that. But again, just the bottom line, the last thing I want you to take away from this Facebook Live, and thanks again so much for chiming in. Thanks for your comments here. And if you add more of them, I'll try to come back later and answer those in the comments section below. But the last thing I want you to take away is that Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's likely when we'll see the biggest impacts as far as road conditions are concerned. I want you guys to be safe there. So please take it easy on the roads if you see that they're slick, and then Thursday morning potentially as well. Additionally, with this Arctic air, you know, you want to be sure to drip those pipes, especially if you live in an older home. So that's all I've got for you right now. We're likely to continue to do this over the next several days as this winter storm draws closer. And the thing is, as we get closer, we get more access as meteorologists to more high-res data. And I'll tell you what, things will start to get nailed down as far as precipitation amounts go. But like I said, you know, it's really all about the impacts. And I believe the impacts are going to be the main story, whether it's a very light accumulation of snow, freezing rain, sleet, or it's more in the moderate category. So that's what I wanted to give you guys a quick update on here on this Facebook Live. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll do more of these in the future.